Okay, so I got to take off this Formica on this edge. Just checking it, that looks good. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I love it. Okay. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I didn't go quite deep enough there. Here. This is the value of this Milwaukee track saw. If it can handle cutting a thin veneer off just to the glue line, I'm telling you, that's the bomb. Luckily, this thing has a lot of traction. I don't need any clamps. I wouldn't even know how to clamp it to this. And make sure your edge right there used. Yep, just the veneer. No. Luckily, this thing has a lot of traction. I don't need any clamps. I wouldn't know how to clamp this. Let's see here. I'll just go a hair back more. You got a little bit of weight. Okay, just a small smidgen, like a 100 inch maybe. Don't take much of it. There we go. That's pretty smooth, but I want to take off a little more. Beautiful. Okay, I got one more side. That's it. I'm trying to take off as little as possible just to get the veneer off. Well, I'm going to try this one more time. I want a smidgen more off because there's a little bit of fuzzy glue here. That did the trick. And I'm going to do this other side again. Not careful, and you have to compress, make sure that there's no side pressure as you're doing this. It's ready for veneer. Now I'm just going to Bondo this damaged corner so that the veneer will stick on a flat surface. So I'm using this cream hardener right now with the Bondo. I think it's like 20 to 1 or 20. I'll check it out and I'll let you know. I'll put that in text. But right now this is all I do to fix something like that. I wouldn't want to use anything but Bondo really, because it's nice. It can create a nice flat surface. So I got this sheet of veneer, walnut, to re-veneer the top. The rest is staying as is. I'm going to do the side pieces first. I just feel that's best because then you won't have any chance if something was to break off the sides because it'll be over it. That's the way I do it. Anyways, yeah, let's move on. Along. Pretty crappy there. Same thing this way. 19. We're going to attach a piece here, but this bottom edge has to be perfect to run along this edge. So I will use a track saw to make that clean edge. Up here it won't matter. I'm going to have some extra overhanging. So my piece will be about 2 inches. This is 1.5 inches. Okay, so I've got it set to cut just a little bit past into the wood. God, I love that saw. Clean edge. I mean, these track saws are just like super versatile. To be able to do this like that, it's a perfect cut. Now I just make another strip over here, go like about 2 inches. Good enough. Let's do another cut. I love this. It's lined up with this bottom edge when I glue it on, and it'll be perfect. So I'm going to cut the rest of the strips and we'll go from there. It's a beautiful thing. One more. Got our 4 strips. So with these strips now, I'm going to attach one here and one here. I'll route that and then I'll do the other 2 sides. So you can see I put paper on to protect everything from here down because I'm not doing anything with the rest of it. And I've got this water-based contact cement. It doesn't mention stirring. I think it's all homogeneous. It doesn't like have anything that settles in the bottom. just to put some of this out. And you can either use a brush or a foam brush. They both work fine, I think. Foam brush might be a little better. This stuff dries clear when it's done. And the water-based works really well for this kind of situation. For that, I think I only need one coat. I'm going to do the other side. That's why you want the tape. You can be a little messy with this stuff, but a good coat. It's all milky white at first, but it dries clear. And then you use a piece of scrap plywood or paper or something to put the contact cement on these pieces. Okay. And then you allow this to dry till it's clear. They're both clear. And then we'll put them on and then we'll route it. You can always take your brush and just keep it in a Ziploc. You could be using that all day long if you just keep it in a Ziploc. One issue, when I was pulling this off of the board, it kind of splintered a little bit on the edges. So I got to clean that up before I put it on there. So I'm just going to track saw it real quick, that piece on one edge. It's already glued, but it's dry, so it's not really, my surface was clean, so I should be fine. Nice clean new edge, and put it on there exactly with the bottom edge. There. So you can see here the edge. I'm just making sure it's nicely even with the bottom edge of the wood. And what you want to do is have a stick or something to really push pressure on there. Make sure that's well sealed, well pressed and connected. You can use a roller, a stick of wood is fine. Okay. So what you want for this step is the flush trim bit, which is just a straight bit with a little bearing on it. Just set it for like a 1/16 or so to make sure you get past the laminate. Go a little deeper, here we go. You want to make sure you're flat against the material. You don't want to rock it at all. You see that buildup, it's nice away. You can go over it more than once, as long as you're careful. Something like that. Now I don't get out of my way. Now that should be good. Let's try that. There we go. And then for here, I do what's called flat filing. Keep this flat up against and just clean up that edge to be absolutely flat. And you can use the rough or the fine side. Probably the rough to start with. And that's really all you need. You want that edge to be as flat as possible, and no, you can take your fingernail, and if you end up lifting up that material, then you know it's not flat. You can always hit it again. There's a serrated edge on one side and a non-serrated on the other. You have a fine and you have the rough. So you want that serrated edge to hit that, but keep it flat, and you just, like that, it comes right off. And right there. Now with the top, you're also going to want to have that sanded or flat filed when you go to do the top. I'm going to go ahead and glue these edges now, the other two. Try not to get any glue underneath it. It's hard to do. What I'll do after I do this is I'll move them so that the glue, any that did get under, won't stick it to the board like it did last time. So now I'll just move it a little bit, keep it off that wet glue. Because you can see here, when I pulled it up last time, some of the veneer on the edge got stuck to the board. Make sure that that's even with the bottom edge, because I don't have any room to file in there. Uh-oh. I just went a little too And that's okay, I just made it. Okay. And if you want, maybe I could have put a piece of wood in here. I'll try that on the other side. All right, let's do the other side. Even I'm willing to learn. I'll put a shim in there to help raise it up to that level, just to help boost it up a little bit. Okay. And now all I got to do is flush it right there so that it's resting on that stick. Okay, that's another way to do it. And you just remove those shims, get this out of the way. Whoops. Press it down. We're ready for the routing trim bit. Okay, so here we go. And we'll sand that. Now the other side. Anyway, so you want to then sand this, but I also still have these edges to do. One of my favorite things is a new file. I use for this the Simmons brand. Simmons. And they're made in Honduras. So at least it's better than China, in my view. This is the part where you really got to be careful. You don't want to burn it. And you only want to go, you don't want to be like flat, but you want to be a little bit like that, about maybe a 10, 15 degree angle. And you can also lightly go at like a 45. Okay, I might do a little bit of filing right here, but my pressure is up. Just want to ease the edge a little bit. I can start out with a light, easy edge, and then go finer it. Okay, nice. And I'll do the other edges the same way. Just getting rid of all that extra little bit of glue. If you've never done it before, practice on an extra piece. Okay. Ease that edge a little bit. This is kind of a rare circumstance, to be honest with you. Luckily, there's enough room in there for me to put my file. It's painted black on the inside, so I can always touch it up with some black paint. Okay, one more edge. Now I'm going to sand the top with the 120 grit with the Festool. I like this sander because I know it's like dead flat, which is what's necessary for this job. You'll want to blow all the dust away. And you can use a roller, a small roller probably for something like this. But you just brush it on. It's not that hard. I think a foam brush would do a more even job. I'm trying to go as thin as I can, but still be enough. And then we'll make sure that there's no dust on here. Being careful on the edges because you don't want to, and you could put tape on there, I suppose. But if you brush this way, you should be good and not without too much, and it won't go over the edge. Yeah. Unless you're worried about the edge when you route, but it'll be fine. I think I will use a foam brush next time. But you definitely want to make sure you cover the edge as well. And there we go. We'll let that dry and the other one and get back to it. Okay, so now we're ready to put the material on there. So I'm taking another piece of laminate just to cover it because I only want to first stick this edge, just making it a little easier so doesn't bubble or anything weird. So you take the piece and the grain direction, make sure that's the direction you want it. You can lay it on there and just make sure it overhangs equally so that the grain is straight, right? You can overhang it whatever distance you want there. And you can generally just eyeball it. Looks good to me. And then the that part, stick it down, and then remove this. Just jog it over and make sure you don't have any bubbles. Just lightly do that as you remove it. You go the whole distance, and there you go. Easy as that. Make sure that piece that you used underneath is really clean. You don't want any like dust specks or anything because they will read through. This is so thin, you know? So that's good. Now you can take a roller or a stick like this J roller and just make sure you press with enough pressure to bond it. Didn't intend to do that, but should be okay. Yeah, you want to be careful of that when you get near the edge. I think we're good. It's a little scary. Now with a wood stick, honestly, I feel like I get a little more pressure, like a real piece of wood or something like that. I can bear down on it, and you can do that. That might actually give you more pressing pressure. I think the rollers are a kind of a gimmick, to be honest. There we go. So here it is with a triangular bearing, which is very strange. But I started routing and adjusting it, and I went a little deeper than I thought I needed to make it work. But it doesn't seem to be burning or anything like that. So we'll give the rest of it a shot. So here's the bit that I use in this video, and I'm new to this bit, and I'm not going to really discuss it that much. Just you can see it's got the triangular bearing. That's supposed to reduce any possibility of scratching, and it has a slight taper. I prefer a taper like this, which is about 15 degrees. So I'm not going to get into it. It worked for my purposes. I probably could have adjusted it and spent some time with it, but I did not. So we'll do that in the future, okay? Does leave a lot of that. It's very strange. The main thing is that it doesn't harm your veneer, which is good. Seems to work better in the direction of the rotation of the router bit. Okay. Everything looks great, just a little bit of filing. Okay, so I got my new file. Make sure to put on your reading glasses at this point. Yeah, the file for me is the go-to. Yeah, it looks good. I was worried if any of that tear out would be exposed, but I don't see any. Okay, and then the final side. Corners are where you got to be the most careful. Okay, she's all good. So I'm going to try this clear lacquer, clear aerosol Minwax. Easy to use, no sanding between coats. We'll see about that. I'm going to do the sides first. Just a light coat, maybe two. I'm just going to hit the top. And that's it. Let that dry. Woo, got to get out of here. Okay, it says spray several thin coats at the first spraying, so I'm going to hit that top again. I'll even hit the sides again. Recoat after 30 minutes. Okay, this is the second coat. It feels a little furry to me, actually. It says no sanding, but maybe I'll sand on the next coat. Shouldn't be breathing this stuff, but I'm going to be really fast. That's it. Okay, so it's the following morning, so about 12, 15 hours later, and I feel this. You're supposed to not have to sand between coats, but it's raised the grain, so it's kind of furry. So I just take some 320 and just lightly sand that. Now I'll blow it off. And then give it a couple coats of this. There we go, we'll let that dry. Okay, so I'm checking it after that last spray. It's a pretty good finish, but there's still a rough spot here. Maybe I didn't quite sand it enough. But this whole no sanding between coats, I don't believe it, even though it does say it. So take it for what it is. I would now use 320 on those areas that are rough. I'm gonna actually go over the whole thing just very lightly because I want a really smooth final coat. You can use a tack rag as well. I even just use my hands, as long as they're clean, to get rid of any last final dust. Okay, and then shake the can again. 1, 2, 3, about 6 inches away. I like to do the sides first, so any overspray is handled by my final spraying. It's a significant coat, I'll admit that, but this stuff dries pretty quick. We'll check it later and see if we're gonna do one more. And now 30 minutes or so later, I'm gonna go with one more coat. It feels good, but I just like that extra protection. So we're gonna do one more. A little rough there. I don't know why it always raises the furries. Where's that sandpaper? Okay, so I'll just hit it in that one spot. There's some raised grains. The grain varies here and there, you know? Yeah, I'm a little too picky. Oh well, such is life. One, two, three. Okay, that's it. Done. Okay, so there you go. I re-veneered the entire top. I didn't touch any of the existing walnut material here, and I didn't want to ruin it. So I didn't use lacquer thinner to remove that veneer that was on here. So I think the track saw method worked pretty good. Let me know what you think. If you'd like to see more content similar to this or anything cabinet-wise, let me know what kind of things you're running into, and I'll see what I can do. So super appreciated. I will see you on the next one. Thanks.